Hey, welcome to Real Talk, episode 49. I'm Todd. This is AJ.
Yo,
And as usual, we're back.
better than ever. That's became the starting quote, and I don't know if it's true or not, but we're trying.
Are we? No. Anyway, it's really good to see you guys. See you. What is Real Talk? Real Talk's an opportunity to really just join us as we think about God, the Bible, our faith, and how we put that all together. And you guys join us in that conversation. And how do you do that? You do that primarily by the link above. There's a link, www.theremnant.life/real-talk. If you click that link, it's going to ask you, give you a little box to submit a question, hit that, and it's going to give you a form fillable box to ask a type of question or a topic. It could be about us, it could be about the church, it could be about your faith, it could be something you're wrestling with. You hit submit, it goes into a database completely anonymously. We could not find you if we tried. And we've tried with some people and their snotty questions, but we can't. So in all seriousness, we can't. So the reason we do that intentionally is to make this a safe place to have those kind of discussions. So, man, we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary of Real Talk. I believe it was on
crazy.
Friday.
Yeah.
Last Friday, because this should be going out today. Last Friday we had our 1-year anniversary, which is
surreal.
just so surreal. So kind of cool. We almost got to 50, and if we hadn't had to miss a couple weeks, it might have been right on. 50 episodes. Which, since we do 2 episodes a week, well over 100 episodes.
That's also crazy.
Or close to it. Yeah, counting our live episodes. Yeah. So we just want to take a second, in all seriousness, we joke a lot around here, to thank you. Thank you so much for allowing us to come into your lives every week, to have these kind of discussions, for giving us a format to think about our faith. And man, we truly don't take it for granted that you guys have joined us, have supported us, and have added to the discussion.
Yes.
So thank you truly from the bottom of our hearts. Man, we hope this keeps going for a long time, but even if it didn't, Lord forbid, we have had a great time. And I know that God has used it to reach people and impact lives. So whether or not, it's impacted you, and I bet it has especially if you're a long-time viewer, but certainly I know for a fact that it has impacted others. And people don't realize, but just watching the video gives it more views, which makes it reach more people and all those kinds of things. And so those of you that like and share and comment, man, you go above and beyond. And we're just very, very thankful for that. So appreciate you so much. I think that's the gist of it. So I guess we'll start. We like to start our episodes out with just kind of a discussion about how our week's gone since the last time we spoke. And maybe what God's been teaching us, if anything. Well, he's always teaching us, but something specific. So yeah, man, what's been going on? How's your life? How's your week?
So I know when I think of like my life, I think of like cycles, right? Like I think a lot of people could relate with the idea of cycles, and it's interesting because when I first got introduced to like, say like life groups, for example, like we had this thing called Edge, and we had the idea of what a Kairos moment is, and we talked about how, I remember because you actually, like, you drew it out once, like you made like this circle and had all these different like parts of it and like how to get through a Kairos moment.
Real quick, a Kairos moment, because it's going to confuse people. It's just our word that we've named so we can speak the same language. It's our name for those moments in our life when God kind of breaks into our life and wants us to respond.
Yes. And I remember you doing all these different steps of it. And it's interesting because when you actually think about life, like me, like even I can take this week or like last month or whatever, like how long, dude, I feel like there's probably so many Kairos moments that I didn't even think about, that just came and hit me, didn't even think about it, moved on, and then God probably did it again, and he was just like, hey, like I'm trying to like show you something. And what a crazy thing. Like I think of, like I said, like cycles, repeated cycles. Like you may take that first step into that process, but then you don't. So then it comes back around. You got to do it again, and then you might get a little farther next time, but you actually didn't complete it. Go back around again, and I think that's kind of where I'm landing right now. Like I think I need to be really intentional myself. Like, what does it mean to be intentional? I feel like I need to go back to my roots. Like what it was like what did I learn when I first became a Christian, right? Because those are some of the most important teachings, I think, going back to the roots, going back to what are we about, and then applying that. Because I think it's so easy to get caught up and get tired and get all these things, and then you use them as excuses, and then you're complacent or you're stagnant. You know, I know we had like a brief conversation earlier today about like, you know, like being stagnant and all these things like, and the reason why I mentioned cycles is because that's not the first time that conversation has happened. That's a conversation that's happened multiple times. So it's like, for me, it's trying to break that barrier. You know, uh, when I think of a time, like, was that barrier ever broken? It makes like I don't know. I've never asked myself that question. Like, have I ever actually gotten out of that? I don't know, because I remember what another cool thing you mentioned about Kairos moments is you said, man, that can be a week or it can be years even. A Kairos moment does not have a timeline. Like it does not have a specific time put on it. It's just there it is, and you have to work through it. And like, so for me, I think I've kind of had a realization of like, man, um, how how like present am I? You know, like how fogged up must I be to not see these kind of things? You know,
Hmm.
like where has my mind been for the longest time? All these things, right? Like I might have a good day here and there, but like when you look at the overall picture, it's like, man, where have I been? So, but on a positive note, I think it's cool to realize these things, and it's always another opportunity to try to like. It's always like, you know, it's never too late, right? Like you always have the opportunity to go, okay, listen, we can get better, right? Like we can do, you know, we can do better. So that's just kind of hitting me. As far as my week, you know, another positive note is just choosing joy. You know, um, I know. I think last week I talked about it briefly. I think I did. I don't remember, but um, I've done real. I don't want to say I've probably tried my best, but I've definitely had moments where I have chosen joy, and in that moment when you make that decision, you do end up being happier anyway, and it's so convicting and it's so cool. And like I just want to do that, you know. So it's been good because I've had, you know, a couple days here and there where I've been able to do that, and it's encouraging, you know. And in those times, I do remember feeling good, and I do remember feeling different and being more present in that, you know, in those days. So that's an encouragement to myself, but that's kind of how my week's been.
So, if I missed this, I'm sorry. But in the first part, you're talking about learning this kind. What is that thing? What are you trying to like? What are you working with? Like, what is God telling you? Did you say that and I missed it? Like, what is?
Um, like as far as the
Well, you're saying I'm trying to see these things, and I feel like God. What is that thing? Or
trying
is it just the
to,
idea of seeing things?
I think, yeah, I think, man, when it comes to like when I think of like myself, and like my life, um, I feel very behind, like just in general. Like I think for me, um, I miss a lot of things. Like a lot of people will see something and I just miss it. It's weird, and like, so I don't know if that's me being naive or if that's me like just
What do you mean missing things?
um
Like what? I mean, you don't have to give an example, but do you mean like miss? What do you mean miss life? Miss what? Like
oh, maybe miss is like a wrong. That's probably a poor choice of words. I tend to think that I don't understand a lot of things about
oh,
life, or
okay.
like people are or like perception, like all these things. Like I feel like I tend to miss a lot of stuff, and people see it,
Hmm.
and I think in that ignorance, I think I tend to get stuck in things. So like it's like a weird. I shouldn't say it's weird. It's more like a um it feels like I've been asleep for a long time. Does that make sense? Like,
Do you think you're living life intentionally, or do you even know what that would mean?
I think a lot of times I don't know if I know. Like, because I think, kind of like what I said earlier, how like going back to my roots, right? I think there was a point in time where I feel like I had a better understanding of it, but I feel like I've lost that somehow. Like, I've lost the idea of living intentionally in the midst of just that foggy ignorance, you know, of like not
Yeah.
understanding.
I mean, I asked that. This is something I've been asking myself too, but
Uh huh.
I ask that because what I mean by living intentionally is, and I don't know if this is true of you, but I think what I've seen in people and myself more is I can have a tendency, let's just take a day. I wake up in a day, and beyond some general things that I know I do, I have to go to work or whatever, right? I just get swept along the current of life without really making any actual decisions or choices or intentionally choosing anything.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
Okay.
do you wake up and understand that your life is a gift and that you can choose to do things out of it? So, I think that's part of the reason. So, lately, even choosing joy, you can't choose joy if you're not intentional about it. And what I see in a lot of us is we're sitting around waiting for something to happen. And the scary thing is, even though we may want something good to happen, what we're really doing is waiting for anything to happen, even if it's bad. So we're kind of just drifting along this current,
Yeah.
right? And we're waiting for either the current to change and take us somewhere good or bad, or to stop us. We're just kind of like, something's going to happen. And then before you know it, what I think happens is you end up 60, 70, 80 years old and realize those are the people that, you hear that old saying, I wasted so much time. Um, Even things that are really deep. So people that say, live today like it's your last day, that old saying. Once again, that's something that's become cliche that is incredibly powerful truth. Because, Lord, if someone told you, AJ, by the end of this day, your life is over by midnight, what would you do differently?
Oh, man.
And that's what I'm trying to take out. Of course, you'd call people, tell them you love them. We're not
Sure.
talking about those stuff. But, like, what would you do with your time? What would you want to do? And I think I don't want to make that, that can clearly, it's hard to put yourself there. But for me personally, and it kind of ties in with you, and I think of you because I know you, is, sometimes we get so overwhelmed with all the options in life and all the things we have to do that we do nothing. And we just wait for life to do something to us.
I think that's what I'm dealing with. That makes a lot more sense.
But you've got to do something with it, right? And interesting as God works, like that's part of what I was going to share about mine is a little different, but the same thing of, man, I've fallen into that trap, You said earlier, we were kind of talking, I said, man, I feel like I'm stagnant. I don't think you're ever stagnant. You're always doing something. I was like, yeah, but like, I don't feel like I'm being as intentional or driven as I want to be because I'm not comparing myself to anyone else. I'm comparing myself to what I want to be and what I feel like God would want me to do, with who I am. So I don't know, man. It makes me so sad when we spend a lot of times with certain group of guys around here, and it's the same thing, man. I walk in the room and I'm part of it too. So like I say, I walk in a room and I see all these people literally just either staring at their phones or looking so depressed, and the only things that come out of our mouths, and I'm one of them. I'm a pessimist at times, and I'm trying to recover, but is negativity or nothing at all. And it's so sad. Every now and then I get this moment where I actually see it. I don't know, man. I feel like that's part of our issue, ours and people, is, man, do we live intentionally? It's one thing to say that. Even right now, I'm telling you guys that. It's another thing to ask myself, am I living intentionally? Am I actually living intentionally? I don't think that I am every day. In fact, a lot of days I'm not. And then before you know it, it's February of 2020. You understand that? Like, and it seems like yesterday was October 2019. Like, so I don't know. Sometimes I get irritated even talking about this stuff, even between us, because what are we doing with it? Like if real talk only stays talk, then is it useful? And the whole idea of real talk is to process these things and let it affect our lives, right? Let it change something or let it motivate us or overcome a feeling or whatever. So anyway, that was just my thoughts. And I think, for you, I think that's something, man, for you is like just to understand that your worth and like live that out intentionally, and I don't know, even the idea of choosing joy, we had a sermon a few weeks ago called Joy Bringer. And I feel like a lot of people in the church got all excited about it and everybody's saying it now, which I love that. They're like, we're going to choose joy. But they're not, they just keep saying they're going to, or they should. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that to me is, it almost makes those words taste bad. Like then instead of when I hear the word joy, something beautiful, I hear screech because it's just the same thing. And it's almost like we're waiting for everyone else around us to choose joy and then we will. But the problem is everybody's waiting for everyone else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm with you.
So then, when we looked at scripture and scripture says encourage each other daily, and how can you encourage someone when all you're focused on is your own misery? Oof. I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that for all of us, right? Or our own stress or whatever else.
I'm guilty of that for sure. One thing, man, I know I've told you about this before. Like, I think it's interesting because I was looking at something the other day. It was an older episode that we did. You said something. What was it? You said most people. I'm gonna butcher this. So you said most people tend to not like themselves, and I immediately went, "That's me." And like, dude, it was so cool because like even then I saw that guy and I was like, he's just honest, man. Like he's just talking right now. And I feel like when it comes to like even doing stuff like this, like you said, like what's the point in real talk if it's not affecting your life? Because I feel like then I think it was more than it is now. And it's like, man, like what a surreal thing. Like I don't know.
Yeah, and that's I think that's what happens. I think we were intentional even then with the show. Is that instead of viewing it as, because I feel like it's, if you're really honest, I mean, you have to answer for yourself. It's just something you got to do. Oh, I do that. That's what I do. Instead of this cool thing that we were so excited about. Anyway, so for me, segueing really fast, that's kind of where I'm at. I have a lot of dreams God has given me. I don't know. I get excited about possibilities, and I truly am one of those guys. I don't believe anything's impossible. I don't. It's just how much do you want it, and what do you want to sacrifice to get it. And when I think about this ministry, when I think about our church, when I think about the things we want to do in the community, and all I hear, is talk, then it gets me. I get restless and antsy, and I'm not blaming anyone. I'm blaming myself because I'm like, Todd, what are you doing, man? Like, because for me, I get caught up in people, not other people. This is so weird. So I don't really care what people think. I don't, but then I do. And it's not so much that I care what they think. It's just the exhaustion of every day going, oh,
Another thing.
People, like I've talked about even just last night or today, it's gotten to the point that people in our congregation, our church, will come and go, hey, I saw Pastor so-and-so, the one that they don't say this, but it's like, oh, and the only reason they're telling me is because this is someone that doesn't like me. Right. And then I go, wonder why they feel like they need to tell me they saw this guy that they don't think likes me. And they don't say anything else like, oh, I saw so-and-so. So for me, sometimes I get so discouraged by Christian culture and community, even in our town here. And I don't mean this negatively. I'm saying for myself that I'm like, what am I really doing? Like I'm caring more about the opinion of men, right, than God. And like, let's say that everyone doesn't have a good reason why they and make some people like, well, they don't like you. I mean, people don't like you too. It's just reality. So when I'm saying this is, I mean, even if there's only two people, sometimes I get fixated on like, well, why won't they? I don't know. I want to deal with it. I'm a controller to a degree. So like either I want this person to say something to my face so I can deal with it and move on, or I want it to be fixed, right? And I can focus so much on that it distracts me from the goal. Because let me tell you this, what if, clearly we know and we have a passion for the church, capital C, to be everything it should be. And certainly I don't live that out perfectly, but I want to. So what, but even if not, let's say the only people that walk through our doors are people that aren't going to other churches or aren't going to other things. Like we've talked about that. Like then we're doing what we're supposed to do. So why do I get caught up in all this other stuff sometimes? Well, anyway, that's just part of it. And I think that can also affect my being intentional. You know what I mean? Because I end up focusing on things I can't control so much that I don't do the things I can.
Right.
Which is even approaching every day. Man, with it sounds so corny, with gusto, like really going at it. And I think I'm most happy when I'm doing that. And like, if the people around you aren't doing that, I had this really powerful thing happen to me before we started this church, and I really feel like God was using it. And I had a group of people that I was trying to dream with, and I was like, maybe we should do this church thing. And they were like, I don't know. And I finally, I went to this conference, for a nonprofit conference, and a guy, wasn't Christian, but the guy said something. He goes, when you're trying to do something and the people at your table aren't willing to do it, maybe it's time to meet at a different table. And, sometimes I love the people around me so much that I want them to be on the same mission as me because I don't want to leave the table. But maybe I have to leave the table because they're not willing to go. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that happened in this church, right? What if I hadn't done that? What if I had said, no, it has to be here? Maybe we wouldn't be here. And I think about all the other places in my life where I do that now, where I'm just like, why do I don't know. This may mean nothing to any of you, but anyway, so I just want to be more intentional. And I want to, I do want to choose joy. And I want to be someone that walks in a room, and even if everyone else is mopey. That's our kind of joke word around here, depressed. I don't care. Like, I want to, because my joy doesn't come from people. It comes from the Lord. And that doesn't change even if everybody else in the whole world isn't. You know, the Holy Spirit says that I can have joy. It tells me that's a fruit of His Spirit. So why don't I do that? And that's what I want to do. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I'm so thankful for God and His patience with me. That when I'm a goofball or an ungrateful child, that He just is so patient and loving with me, man. So I want to do that and be that. Anyway, moving on. Yeah. We got quite a few questions today. We'll get through as many as we could. Some of them are serious, some of them aren't, but this is good because I think it lets people know we're open to anything. You can ask us anything. So I'll go first and ask you, what is your favorite? These came from our database, by the way. These could be you. What is your favorite fruit and vegetable?
Fruit, apple, vegetable. Oh boy.
It doesn't say you eat them a lot. It says if you had to pick a favorite.
I guess I'd have to go with. I can actually eat green beans. I don't mind.
It's a random thing. What you guys don't know about this question is AJ does not like anything healthy for him.
It's very true.
And it's the truth. This isn't exaggeration. So
literally not an exaggeration.
Asking him a vegetable.
This is facts.
Is like asking him
if there's aliens.
Yeah. What? The answer is I don't know. Anyway. Man, favorite fruit. I would say I don't eat them very often. I really like oranges, especially when I was a kid. I like apples too. Oranges, vegetable. I always forget, is a potato a vegetable?
I think it is.
I'll say potato.
See, I was thinking about saying potato, but I was like, I like French fries.
Yeah. But if not, they're probably asking for like a green, right? Right. I would say I don't mind broccoli when it's cooked. Cooked broccoli's pretty good. How you do it. Yeah. How do I eat healthy things? I don't know, man. Maybe if we bread that bad boy and put it between a bun. Maybe. All right. You're up.
What is your favorite homemade soup?
Do you know what's hilarious about this question? What is your favorite homemade soup? Yeah, like, is there a difference? Because I know there's a difference between like Campbell's chicken noodle, but it's just very specific. I'm not okay. Now we come to me in this because this is something I don't like. I don't know if you know this. I don't like soup.
I'm not a huge soup guy either.
I'm not a soup guy. I like a stew every now and then. My mom used to make I'm sure she still does. I don't get to eat it, but it's like this vegetable. Like, it has some meat in it, but it's not real thick, so I wouldn't necessarily call it a stew, but it had potatoes, and I thought that was pretty good. Throw about 40 crackers in there, and it's pretty good. So I like that.
Would chili count as soup?
Sure. For the purposes of this, I guess if that's the case, I like chili, too.
Yeah, chili's delicious.
All right. What is your favorite verse from Proverbs?
All right, so I have a screenshot here. So this is Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will make straight your paths.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a real good one. I like that a lot.
I actually just thought, let me find. Oh, I've got a few here. Anxiety. This is Proverbs 12:25. I know a lot of people struggle with anxiety, like in our culture nowadays. Anxiety in a man's heart weighs it down, but a good word cheers it up.
Man, that's good.
I like that for two reasons. One, hey, anxiety, like living in that's just going to make your heart down. But other people saying something positive to each other even, is going to cheer you up. And then there's another one. These are just ones I have underlined. I'll just read it. 13:3. The one who guards his mouth protects his life. The one who opens his lips invites his own ruin. Just control your mouth. Control your tongue.
That's really good.
And then what was that one I read earlier? Like when I don't remember. I'm trying to turn. Proverbs are good, man. This is pretty cool. 16:7, when a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Oh man. Proverbs, I'm all over the place. Proverbs 12:29. The Lord is far from the wicked, and then this part, but He hears the prayer of the righteous. Oh, and we are made righteous by Jesus, so He hears us.
That's really good. I love that.
You're up.
All right. Crap. What is your favorite verse or verses from Psalms?
You know what I actually thought about this. Actually, believe it or not, I have one, but I want to read part. I like part of Psalm 1. I think it's pretty. I've shared this before. It sounds so crazy, but sort of a reminder to me. Excuse me. Sound of pages. Psalm 1, starting verse 1. How happy is the man who does not follow the advice of the wicked or take the path of sinners or join a group of mockers. Instead, his delight is in the Lord's instruction, and he meditates on it day and night. And I love this part. He is like a tree planted between streams of water that bears its fruit in season and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever he does prospers. I just like the idea of God saying, hey, when you follow me and trust me and live in relationship with me, you're like a tree planted by water, right? A tree that's near water is going to be healthy, but now he goes farther. He goes, you're like a tree planted between two streams of water. So that's pretty cool. But the other one is Psalm 143. It's actually called a cry for help in mine, and it says, starting at verse 7, he talks about, answer me quickly, Lord. Answer me quickly, Lord. My spirit fails. Don't hide your face from me, or I will be like those going down to the pit. Let me experience your faithful love in the morning, for I trust in you.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. I've got Psalms 51, 8 through 12. It says, let me hear joy and gladness. Let the bones that you have broken rejoice. Hide your face from my sins and blot out all my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from your presence, and take not your Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation, and uphold me with a willing spirit.
Yeah, man, I love that one too, and that was honestly the one I was looking for. When I told you earlier, I was like, man, because we just happened to see these and we didn't want to be flipping through pages, but I couldn't find it, so that's really awesome.
I had that one highlighted about 5 weeks ago.
That's cool. All right, can you be a silent Christian? Someone told me in his church growing up, your faith is personal and private.
So at the end of the day, when you confess your lips and you truly believe in your heart that Jesus Christ is Lord, you are saved, period. So in the sense of being a silent Christian, I don't think it's right, because the Great Commission is to spread his name to all nations, and reach out to as many people as you possibly can. So, your life's a ministry. If your ministry is in hiding, what are you doing?
That's good.
So I don't think it's right. Now, if someone spends their whole life being a silent Christian, doesn't mean they're not saved. I don't think so. Like, I think they'll still be going, but I don't, there's not a whole, I'm sure there could still be fruit, but not as much as there would be with someone who is on fire going out and trying to do the Great Commission. So
yeah, this second sentence bothers me. Someone told me in his church growing up, your faith is personal and private.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear that, that's someone who to me that sounds like, I don't have to talk about God ever. I don't have to evangelize. It's between me and God.
Right.
I don't have to be in community, and I just don't like that. I think primarily it's fear-based faith, which isn't a real faith, right? Perfect love casts out all fear, because fear has to do with punishment. It also reminds me of when Jesus said, if you're ashamed of me, I'll be ashamed of you. And I think and I don't, clearly what he's saying is, like, this is our life, and it transforms you. Do I think everyone is going to be the person on the street corner preaching? No. But I'll tell you this, being a silent Christian, based on that second, your faith is personal and private. You have a personal faith, but it isn't private. And God has called you to, intern Clint, man. He is constantly, he can't be in here anymore. Anyway.
Kicking him out.
Appreciate that. Yeah. So that's why, for real, I'm like a squirrel. I can't hear that stuff. But yeah, I think you'd have to ask yourself why. Why would you want it to be personal and private? And I think that leads you somewhere. Like, typically, if someone says that, well, my faith is personal and private, one, it means you don't want to talk about God, you don't want to tell anyone, or you don't want accountability either.
Exactly.
So that's just my thoughts.
That's good.
Can you be saved? That's not the question,
Let's see. Is it a sin to be cremated?
No. Doesn't say anything in Scripture about that. That's just the shell. And that's all I have for it. It doesn't specifically forbid that, so. No.
I agree.
All right. I think that's about it. You got anything you want to say?
Yes. Like you said earlier when we first started the episode, like, it's crazy that it's been a year officially. We've been talking about it's been like a year for like 3 months. It's funny, but for it to actually be a year, man, wow! Like, it's something that, if you go back and watch the first episode, he mentions, he's like, I don't know if this is gonna be a one-time thing or we're gonna keep going, and here we are a year later, still doing it every week. Which is just crazy. I would have never thought that it would have turned into a weekly show for a year, doing it twice, for you guys and for you guys to get something out of it and be a part of it and just, keep tuning in. It's an incredible thing. So thank you guys so much. I know kind of like what I said earlier when I was sharing, like, I think I've got a lot of thinking to do and like, what does this mean to me, and like, how special is it and why am I not seeing it all the time, but it is special. I'm here to tell you guys right now that it is special what you guys are doing and blessing us and tuning in and just getting something from it, and it really is. So thank you guys so much and I love you, truly.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. Thank you guys. We really appreciate you. The link above is active 24/7, 365. So www.theremnant.live/real-talk. If you were sitting through this, having a thought or question, even about the things we shared, maybe you have an opinion as well. Shoot it in there if you don't feel like putting in the comments below, or you can interact with us in the comments below, and we would love to talk with you. We see those. Also, do us a huge favor. We would love for you to like and share this video and watch it.
Yes.
But thank you again. We will be going live this Thursday at 9 p.m. for Real Talk Live, where we just have some fun. We tend to look some crazy fun. Sometimes we look silly just for you, but also we really mix in some good truth. And we've kind of changed the format a lot, actually.
Yeah.
We have different segments that we stick to, but also people have said, well, we notice you don't read every comment. We don't read every comment anymore. We're still there reading with you guys and interacting, but we think it's important, and we've had some feedback that we want to get back to also making sure that we're talking about those things that are real.
That's right.
So it's hard to do that when you're reading every single thing.
Absolutely.
That's in the live. We read all of these, and we will read those. So all that being said, just thank you guys so much again. Tune in next week for episode 50. We should have a special guest with us.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it'll be pretty funny. Other than that, hey, if you haven't liked our page, please click above the Remnant Church here in Whitley County, Indiana. Click like, follow, see first, so you can keep up to date and all the cool things we share to hopefully encourage you. And if you're within a couple hours, you don't have a church home, you've never checked out church, you don't know what church is about, you couldn't call yourself a Christian, but you'd like to see and you want to go somewhere comfortable, or maybe you're a believer that just doesn't have a church home right now, come check us out. We meet every Sunday and we're a little different. Oh, I stay up late on Saturday, I can't go. Gotcha. We meet on Sunday evenings from 6 to about 7:15 p.m. We have a free meal. We call it community time, a time of fellowship, community, hanging out with friends, and eating for free. There's like 70-some people that eat every week. So come hang out, eat with us between 5 and 6, and stay for the service between 6 and 7:15, 7:30. Other than that, that's about it. We hope you guys truly have a great day, and God bless you.